Okay, our final recipient for the St. Andre Cassette Award is someone who is near and dear to my family. He is determined, smart, and sees opportunities as an entrepreneur. My father-in-law, John Dufour, left Holy Cross in 1974 at the age of 17, and by the time he was 20, he built his first business. He started a school bus company and grew it from a 6-person operation to having more than 800 employees in about 10 years. In 2019, John sold his second school bus company, all while earning the title Real Estate Mogul. I'd like to welcome my husband, the charming Brandon Dufour, up to the podium to present his award.
Distinguishing behaviors after their life at Holy Cross, which is interesting because over the course of my life, and especially in the last 8 weeks, I've been able to hear a number of stories of not only my father, but other award recipients for distinguishing behaviors for their life after Holy Cross, and none of their behaviors while at Holy Cross, maybe distinguishing, were on the right side of distinguishing. And it wasn't until tonight that I realized that there is an award for distinguishing behavior while at Holy Cross. And I see so many wonderful student volunteers that were here tonight and so well-spoken and so polite, distinguishing behavior while at Holy Cross. And on Monday morning, there will be a number of students that walk through these halls that would not devote their Saturday night to an award ceremony such as this. And so when they enter these halls, most likely late and probably out of dress code, people that are here tonight can grab them by the shoulders and say, "Don't worry, there is hope for you yet." You can find success after these hallways. I am so humbled and honored to be able to present this award to my father. His success, I think, is widely known throughout the community. What I find to be more honorable and more reason for this award is his graciousness around the community. I remember when I was probably middle school, high school, in the pages of what was by then the Waterbury Republican American. It was one newspaper that had more sections. Kind of buried deep in the local section was a story of a woman who had saved up her money for Christmas gifts for her kids. She stored those wrapped gifts in the trunk of her car, and that car was stolen out of her driveway. They found the car, but they did not find the gifts. And I can remember my father taking me to the Waterbury Police Department where he wrote a check, and we made sure that we refilled that woman's trunk and that that family had the best Christmas that they had ever had. I can go on with stories forever of tuitions that have been covered and favors that have been done, and employees that found mystery envelopes of cash when their luck had gotten hard, or meals that had showed up at holidays to take care of people. And that's really what I think is most admirable about my father, is his willingness and desire to make sure that he is able to take care of people. I feel like I am a better man because of him. I feel like I am a better father. I feel like I am a better husband. I feel like I am a better entrepreneur and all-around person because I was raised by my father. And I find that his success, he is not gracious because he is successful. He is successful because he is gracious. And I believe that that graciousness comes along with, number one, a mother who didn't tolerate any of his undistinguishing behaviors. And that same mother who said, "You're going to get a Catholic high school education. There will be nothing less for you." And while within these walls, he figured out that graciousness matters. And it is those Catholic values that live so deeply inside of him that have helped him to reach the heights of success. So it is very proud for me to be able to be the first to officially welcome my father, John Dufour, to the Hall of Honor.
Well, that's real easy to follow. That's my son. Thank you. First, I'd like to thank the committee for selecting me to this Hall of Honor. It was a tremendous surprise when Tom called me. I also was surprised tonight with a lot of family and friends that are here, and I thank them for coming, and my wife for bringing them all here and organizing all that. When Tom called me and told me that I had been selected, he also told me that my son wrote a letter and nominated me be selected. And I had been nominated in the past, he told me also. My son wrote a letter and he said it was so gracious and so wonderful that I got a unanimous selection to be elected to this hall. And he said, your son also told me that there was a 50-50 shot that you were going to say no. And I said, it's probably more like 60-40. But I was honored, deeply, deeply honored, and thank you, all of you again, for doing this. I also told Tom when we were on the phone that day the story of how I did not want to go to Holy Cross High School, and that how I ended up coming to Holy Cross High School, and he asked me if I would share that story tonight, and I said, sure. I'm going to give you the Reader's Digest version, because my daughter-in-law just told me I'm on the clock. So when I was in 8th grade, I grew up in Salisbury, Connecticut, a little teeny town. I was there all my life. All of my family was from Salisbury or North Canaan in that area. Loved living there, knew everybody there. After I graduated 8th grade, my parents announced that we were going to move. My father's business had grown and was in the more in the Waterbury area, and we had to leave. We were devastated. We were there, and we would go from 8th grade to a regional high school. Housatonic Valley was next, and I was just dying to go to Housatonic Valley High School. My sister was already there. She was a year older, and I saw her going to dances and football games and just living life and meeting new kids and new people and stuff, and I was all in and ready to go. And so we were devastated, but we moved on. In the summer of that year, after I graduated, my parents bought a house here in Prospect. We got to see it. We got to, it was a nice house, had a swimming pool, so some things were getting better. On the way home from being here, she told us that Prospect did not have a high school. This was way before Woodland. And the region didn't have a high school, and that your options when you were in Prospect was one, the public education that the town would pay for was the old Wilby High School on Grove Street. Your other option was Oliver Wilkett Tech, or not Oliver Wilkett, Cantor Tech, downtown, and she said, you're not going there, you're not going to tech school, you're going to college. And then the other two options were Sacred Heart High School and Holy Cross, and she said, I've read a lot about Holy Cross, it's a brand new school. We were a very good Catholic family, and I had no issue with that. And then on the car ride home, she slipped in the fact that you had to wear a coat and tie every day. And then it was a boys' school. And she slipped in the Catholic part too, which did not bother me. Coat, I don't think I owned the sport coat. And I know I didn't own the tie, and I know I didn't know how to tie one. And I also, as a 14-year-old boy, was very, very fond of girls. So I had zero interest in going to Holy Cross. Zero. So later on, as we went, they bought a house, sold our house, but it got delayed, and we never came here until November 1st. So I actually started high school at Housatonic, which was worse yet, because I loved it. And then we came here November 1st. But in like September, she said, you got to take school off tomorrow. We have to go to Holy Cross. You actually have to be accepted to Holy Cross. And you have to apply, and you have to have an interview, and whatever. So we're going to go tour the school and do all that. So I started thinking, well, maybe I won't get in. There's hope. So we went, and as we went, she said, we're also going to go tour Wilby High School and Sacred Heart while we're there, and then we have an appointment at Holy Cross. So we went. My mother was a very anxious woman, very, very anxious, and going to Torrington was a big trip for her. Going to Waterbury was like going to New York City. We came here, got off the highway. As soon as her knuckles turned white on the steering wheel, I could see her, and I got very quiet. And we went, we got lost. We had to stop at a gas station, get directions. We pulled up on Grove Street on the bottom to Wilby, where the big wall was in the school. She didn't put a park. She looked up at the school. She looked around the neighborhood, and she kept on driving. And I go, I thought we were going to see the school. She said, you're not going. So then we went to the Sacred Heart. We got lost again. She sent me into a gas station to ask for directions. The guy started laughing. He pointed across the street. He said, it's right there. He said, but it's a bunch of different buildings. Where are you going? I said, we got to go to the office. He said, I don't know which building it is. Go around that whole block over there, and different buildings, you'll see a sign. So I went back to the car, told my mother that. She looked across the street, she looked around, she said, you're not going. She said, go back and get directions to Holy Cross. So I did, and we drove up here to Holy Cross, did not get lost. Came around that last corner on Norman Oak Road, coming up the hill, and this big, brand new, beautiful school was sitting on this hill, and my mother's knuckles relaxed. I knew it was over, but John McGovern interviewed me. They were pretty much full, but he said to my mother afterward they had gotten my record. Somehow they decided they would take me, and he said, here's all your paperwork, send it in, and we'll send you a letter, whatever. So as we walked back to the car, I said, this is my last chance. And I said, Ma, we're already here. We didn't see the other two schools. Why don't we just at least go down to Tanner Tech and look at the school? She never stopped walking. She looked at me and said, son, there are girls everywhere. She said, you're going to Holy Cross. So that's how I ended up at Holy Cross, and that's how I ended up